Hey YouTube, this is Ben Gessel. I was going to go for a walk tonight, but it's a little chilly, and so I'm going to have to save some walk videos for still a little bit later. But I thought I'd make a video at least tonight about a few thoughts about some things that I've been watching in the last few years or so regarding the Vatican. So it's not really the Catholic Church per se, it's more just the Vatican. I mean, you'll see what I mean here in a bit. So, of course, I'm going to title this video, Curiosities about the Vatican are not the same thing as being anti-Catholic or anti-Vatican. And this is the whole gist of what I'm talking about here. So before my German ancestors, at least some of them, became Mormon, they were Catholic. And I do have, I also have, some other Catholic ancestors. And the Catholic Church is probably one of the bigger, I guess you could say, impacts on the United States in general. And where I live, it's somewhat noticeable. But, yeah, it is. I've had Catholic friends and things, but honestly, Washington is just not very religious. So, but for people that are religious, Catholicism is one of the big boys, along with Lutherans and Mormons, more on the east side of the state, of course, and, just scattered other types of Protestants. And, of course, we have lots of Jewish folks in Mercer Island and so on and so forth. But, yeah, Buddhists are Asian, but they're a little different. And, so anyway. So I've never had any beef with the Catholic Church. There's no reason for me to talk about stuff that I just, I obviously, I am Mormon myself, and so I just, there are things I just don't believe, but, but I have no dog in the fight. However, when we're talking about things involving the Vatican, like some of you guys, I think I've seen some of the videos that get into conspiracy theories and get into wondering what happens in the Vatican. I suppose on some level, again, I mentioned this before, but on some level, this is a bit like the curiosity that some people have about Mormon temples and what happens inside them. But in all honesty, a Catholic cathedral is generally open to the public. I mean, the temples, LDS temples, are not, unless they're open houses and you can go around and see stuff. The Vatican is different. The Vatican, you can go in and you can see a lot of places, but some places you can't. And in my knowledge and estimation of things, I just know what an LDS temple has in it and what people do in there. And there's nothing, there's just nothing, it's all just, things like marriages and baptisms for the dead and, whole endowment ceremonies, which are, it's all just, it's mostly just ceremonies and things like that. And ordinances, and it's all just stuff like that. And there's a cafeteria sometimes in some of them. And it's not some big mystery to me. Right? I understand that because you can only, whatever. It's only some LDS folks that can go in. I understand the mystery behind it, I suppose. Some people might think it's a little bit mysterious. In the Catholic, again, in the Vatican, there are places that are very much more off limits to anybody who isn't whatever, And it's a bit more like, I suppose it's, again, on some level, the church office building might be seen that way a little bit. 1 second here, sorry. Okay, so, yeah, I mean, I see that. Okay, so here's my train of thought. I know that when it comes to the St. Peter's Basilica and all this other stuff that you see on a tourist map, that's all fine and good. And that's, very interesting. And you have, areas where there've been big frescoes made of stuff. That's on your standard tourist routes. So, and then of course you have the Pope's residence, and you have all these other things that are more just areas the Pope goes into, or in the kitchen area and dining area and that sort of thing for him. And then you have like the Vatican post office, and so there's a bunch of other buildings on the Vatican, of course, that don't have to do with church stuff or historical, artistic stuff or whatever. It's not, So that being said, it's a big thing. It's its own nation, and here's where things get a little bit interesting. So yes, I've sorry, folks, for the camera. I've seen a few videos, at least a few, maybe more than a few, getting into certain rooms that are in the Vatican, whether they're below the Vatican or somewhere generally below areas that may have been forgotten about, supposedly neglected. I don't know. One room, there's a whole bunch of rooms that have burial spots for certain people have been buried in certain places, whether they're, I can't remember exactly who. And some of these places that are subterranean or have little pagan symbols and things on them. I've heard of that stuff, or things that some Protestants like to bring up that so makes the Vatican look pretty dark and evil. Whatever, that's the whole gist of it. So then there's another room that's been discovered that apparently has okay. Sorry guys. This is just because it's the nature of what I'm talking about here. It has pornographic images. But look, Italian painters and there's this whole I don't know. It's just in Europe in earlier times, I think certain topics of art, certain images were not. It was not that bad to create works of art that had certain types of images on them. But even by the old standards, where you show a lot of flesh and things of people, even that being the case, in this room there was images that go a bit beyond just that whole thing. And so, a little bit eyebrow raising, but this is all kind of, again, older stuff. So it leads me to the question of, and of course I've heard the rumors about Vatican Library, and you have to know what you want to look up, and you have to know it's in the library somewhere. And then you only, are researching that one topic, and you can't just keep going back for other books. They won't let you do that. So because of that, this rule that you can't just, the public isn't allowed in the library. You have to, be very they're very strict about that kind of thing. It makes everybody speculate. Right? About what's in the library? About what are they hiding? What's the big deal? Why can't you just have professors come down there and anybody who wants to just read stuff? Why can't they just read stuff and then keep it all there? So you can't take anything with you. Or, I don't know what they want to exchange, but so what's so not cool with not letting people know about stuff? It's the same deal. It's a similar deal with LDS temples. So just in my religion's case, it's just that it's some things are better experienced after you are spiritually ready for certain things. That's the best way of putting it. It's just it is a different deal, but I can understand other people's curiosities also being similar in that regard. But here's where my thoughts kind of get more, my interest peaks a little bit more. So then there's the new chapel that was made for the Pope that looks kind of weird. So because there's always this possibility of these rooms that have not been, that exist, that maybe aren't part of the standard tour, or maybe quite off the standard tour type thing. How many more rooms have not been discovered or exist but are just not, we don't know about them because they just aren't, we just don't know about them. How many rooms exist below the Vatican? Truly. And what are they? What do they look like? What were they used for? I mean, this is a subject I'm getting more interested in. And that's why, again, the whole idea here is curiosity about the Vatican is different than being critical of the Vatican. Because, yes, I've seen the videos about, the Pope is evil, and Black Pope, and the Pope looks really fiendish and has these wicked smiles, and mainly focusing on Pope Benedict, and I've seen all this stuff they're talking about. And this is all stuff I'm very familiar with, folks. I've been following this stuff, and every bone in my body, every bit of me wants to believe that the Catholic Church is not evil, right? So it's not coming from me. If all the stuff I've been hearing has any degree of truth to it, well, that's very sad, because you have all these great people that are Catholic, and this is what, I mean, it's not something to gloat about, or it's not something to, you want to, if you know people who are Catholic, and anybody who's listening to this video is Catholic, you don't want to go there. What you want to just, you want to say, oh, that's just in olden times there were some bad popes, so there's some bad things, but it's all better now. Or, maybe this is something just, you want to focus more on the aesthetic, the artistic, or the cultural things about Italy and stuff. And you don't want to go there. You don't want to think about, you want to talk about, the smoke of Satan, and the Vatican has a problem with demons, and that's just not very wholesome stuff, and it's just not stuff to dwell on, and it still kind of contributes maybe a bit to the mystery about the Vatican. I'll admit, this is the nature of some of my thoughts here. Basically, it's just, yes, I've had the idea of, sort of like Indiana Jones, or there's that big labyrinth below Paris. You get off the path here, and you're on a tour or whatever, but you just kind of slip behind a wall, or you slip behind a narrow hallway somewhere, and then you somehow find yourself in rooms that you're not supposed to be at, avoiding video cameras, and then you get to some places that just don't have any cameras. That who knows when the last time somebody went to this room was, and then seriously start. It's like wow, what room? What do the rooms look like? What do they? I mean, what colors? What's in there? I mean, just it's just imagination fuel, right? So anyway, I'm not a stranger to the subject, but it's definitely not something I want to. I don't want to give Catholics the wrong idea. This is just, I'm just curious. I'm honestly very curious with the Vatican, and I don't want to dwell on anything that makes the Vatican evil. It's all out there already. Or it's, rumors and conspiracies and all this stuff are running rampant, and on top of all the other things that are going on that aren't so great with priests and stuff. And so, so anyway. But just to let you guys know how this ties in with other things, I suppose, if you go into a room that's really, color-wise, very, very enchanting, purple room, or the different colored rooms, like checkerboard, purple and green, or maybe there's a clown room, I don't know, old, European jester types or something. This is more fantasy type oriented, or maybe you have rooms that are, because, before Italy was Christian, they were pagan, so you might have rooms that beneath the Vatican that are pagan, or that have different fantastical creatures in them, because, again, before Italy was Christian, there was pagan, and you have all this old stuff beneath the Vatican, and that's what a lot of people say. Oh, this is just the beliefs of the Italians before Christianity became the official state religion. So it's nothing having to do with how evil, right, the Vatican is. It's just history, right? That's what I would like to believe. I want to believe that. I don't want to believe that, that this evil stuff is real. Because if it is, again, what is that? I mean, what is that? What is really the implication of that? I mean, even if you don't believe in Catholic religion, it's pretty ugly. So I just don't want to go there, really. And anyway, again, I mentioned that before. So you also have you also have I don't know, ideas of some rooms being like, oh, I don't know. It just depends on what they were used for. And this is well before the Catholic Church even probably existed. So maybe you have some room used by Emperor of Rome. It was like a torture room or something. Or like maybe something that's, hiding great treasures. Like Indiana Jones type stuff. Or you might have pools, ancient pools that have nobody's been in those pools for thousands of years. And, the art, the stonework or everything is just really, I mean, like, you feel like you're transported back to ancient times. And then, who knows? I mean, someone would say, hey, we found a gateway to hell or something. Something, I don't know. It's not, but, there's like that one cave in Wales where it's said to be like a gateway to the other world. This is just imagination fuel, man. Like, this is kind of more what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about, it's not anti-Catholicism. It's just, it's just imagination going wild. I was going to go outside and just go for a walk talking about this stuff, but it's just a little too cold tonight, so I decided to do this here. So again, I just don't want you guys to don't get the wrong idea, by all means. But I'm curious what's down there. But hey, the police are saying, or the Vatican's saying, if they don't want, people seeing stuff, certain stuff, they don't want people going in certain places. Okay, I understand. Still part of that, still part of that psyche. It's going to say, hey, I want to see what's there. of course, yes, just like the labyrinths beneath Paris scared me much more because the thing about the Vatican is that yeah, you have all the rumors about what evils, whatever, about all that stuff, all the old pagan stuff. Well, in the labyrinth beneath Paris, as far as I understand, that whole labyrinth thing, that's a huge area, huge. It's just immense, and it all looks a bit more similar. And so, I mean, heck, you could get lost down there and you could die very easily. So I'm actually okay with the labyrinth being locked, being illegal to go down there, because if you go down there, you can very easily get lost. So I used to want to do that, but not really anymore. But the Vatican maybe isn't quite as immense. Maybe it is. But, there's still that part of me that's a bit more intrigued by what's there, even more now than what's beneath Paris. If I went to Paris, I'd probably spend a lot of time at the Louvre. I'd spend a lot of time just, looking at all the art and stuff. I just, focus on the Louvre and the Eiffel Tower and maybe get some good food and call it good. And I love France. Maybe I want to see other places in France more. But with Italy, Vatican would be huge. Oh, yeah, that would be where I want to spend a lot of time. And then, some of the artsy things, other places too, of course. But a lot of things about Italy that I just love in general. But it's not really that hot. I mean, I've handled hot weather, and Italy is 90s. It might be a little toasty, sure, but it's not going to be that bad. Yeah, I'll put it that way. Anyway, so I know I'm avoiding certain tangents here, but leave me your thoughts and comments below. I'll catch you guys later. Take care. Bye.